All right, story time. Once upon a time in a faraway land, there was a king who had an enchanted mirror. Now, this wasn't just any mirror. Oh no, this mirror had magical powers. It could tell the king anything he wanted to know. But there was one thing the king wanted to know more than anything else. He wanted to know who was the fairest of them all. Now, the mirror was a truthful mirror, but it was also a very literal mirror. And so when the king asked it who was the fairest of them all, the mirror would simply reflect back the image of the king asking the question. So the king, seeing his own image reflected back at him, assumed that he himself must be the fairest of them all. And he was quite pleased with himself because he was, after all, the king. But then one day, a young girl who worked as a servant in the castle accidentally broke the mirror. Now, the king was distraught. How would he ever know who was the fairest of them all now? He searched high and low for a new mirror but couldn't find one. So he put the pieces of the old mirror in a box and locked it away in the castle's treasury. Years went by and the king grew old, and one day he passed the throne to his son. Now, this new king was a kind and gentle soul, but he was also a curious one. And one day while exploring the castle, he came across the box containing the broken pieces of the magic mirror. And being the curious fellow that he was, he asked his servants to bring the box to his workshop so that he could take a look at it. The young king examined the pieces of the mirror, turning them over and over in his hands, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder. He could just imagine what it would be like to have a mirror that could answer any question. And so he decided to put the pieces of the mirror back together. Now, it took him and his servants weeks to put the mirror back together, but eventually they succeeded, and the young king brought the now whole mirror back to his room. And as he gazed into its depths, he asked it the question that had been on his mind. Who is the fairest of them all? And the mirror, of course, simply reflected back the image of the young king asking the question. But something strange happened. As the young king looked into the mirror, he saw not only himself, but also the old king, his father, reflected in the mirror. And so he knew that his father had asked the same question, the question that had brought the kingdom to ruin. And the young king was filled with remorse, knowing that he had followed in his father's footsteps. But he also knew that he had a choice to break the cycle of vanity and pride that had nearly destroyed the kingdom. And so he turned away from the mirror, determined to rule his kingdom wisely and justly. And that, my friends, is the story of how the mirror that was supposed to reflect beauty ended up reflecting wisdom instead. The end.